What is going on? My name is Justin from Red Mustard, and today I'm going to be showing you how to add the subject field to your contact form in Shopify. You can also use the same method to add any other fields or information you would like to the contact form. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I'm here now in the back end of Shopify. We want to come to Sales Channels, Online Store, and then Themes. The first thing we want to do is make a duplicate of the theme we're going to make our changes to. Now we will be making edits in the theme code, so that is why we're duplicating it, which means if we make any errors, we can always roll back to the previous version. So we're going to hit the three dots, hit duplicate. Now that that's duplicated, let's just click the three dots again, hit preview, and take a look at the contact form we're going to be working with. So mine is under contact. Just navigate to wherever your contact form is. And we're looking at the standard contact form, which has name, email, phone number, comment, and send, which goes straight through to whatever email address you have hooked up to your Shopify account. Cool. So what we're going to be doing is trying to add the subject line between name and phone number here. So we come back to the back end of our Shopify. We're going to come down to the version that we're working on, which is the copy. Click the three dots again and select edit code. Now on the left hand side, we're going to see options of all of the theme files related to this theme. We are looking for a contact form or something related to contact, which is under the sections folder. So this should be the same for anyone who's on Store 2.0 architecture, which should be most of you. All the latest themes are on that. So what we're going to do is come to the search and type contact. You can see here we have three options, one under templates, one for sections, and one for assets. So it is the sections option that we want. In this instance, contact form.liquid. Yours should be named the same or something very similar. I'm just going to confirm that this is indeed the exact file. And having a look through here, we can see contact fields. We've got a field here, which is autocomplete for name, one for email. What else have we got here? One for phone number, and then a text area. So that pretty closely matches exactly what we've got here. Now, what we're going to do is find a div that's nice and simple. I'm going to take this tel field, which is for the phone. I'm going to copy from the opening tag, which is this div class equals field, down to the first closing tag, which is this /div. So I'm going to copy all of this, highlight that, Command C, and then go just above it, make a space, and paste that, Command V. Cool. Let's just save that quickly. And we're going to take a look at the previewed version, reload, and now we'll see two phone numbers. That's exactly what we've done. We just duplicated that existing field, and we can confirm that the changes that we're making are indeed affecting that file and implementing on our contact page, which means we're in the right place. Great. So now that we have duplicated this field, I'm just going to break down the field a little bit so that you can make your own choices and customize it for your needs. I'll also put a link in the description, which kind of gives you a little bit more information about what each of these things means and the different options that you have available. So the first thing we want to look at is the input tag. This has a few attributes on it. Some of them we won't need and some of them we'll just reallocate. So this first one, type tel, I'm going to change this to type text because we are taking a text input. The next thing is ID. Now the ID needs to be unique, and it needs to match the for attribute on the corresponding label. This is how the two items tie to each other inside the form. So I'm going to make this subject, following the same syntax that they have, contact form -subject. The next attribute we have is class, and that is field input. Going to leave that alone because that sets the styles for the contact form. And I just want our field to look exactly the same as all the other fields that are in the contact form already. Next is autocomplete tel. We don't need that for our subject line field, so I'm going to delete it. Next is name. Now name is one of the properties that you have to have. If you don't have name, your form will still work, but that data that is missing the name won't actually be submitted with the form. So we have a syntax outline here, which is contact and then square bracket. So I'm going to follow that. I'm just going to delete this out of the middle, and I'm going to replace this with subject. But we will find that if we try to submit this with the word subject in there, it's actually not going to work. And there's some issue with Shopify that the subject is a keyword and it just doesn't like it. So we're going to need to change that from subject to inquiry. Now, your customer's never going to see this. It's just how it's going to show up in the form on the back end when it comes through your email. So it doesn't really matter. But if you were doing something else like business problem or some other piece of data, you could just put that in there and it probably wouldn't matter. Next thing is pattern. I'm going to delete that out. Value. You can have value. I don't need value in this case. I'm going to delete that, but value is essentially just it's similar to placeholder, except it is information that would go into the form and it would be submitted along with the form. Whereas placeholder is kind of like dummy text that as soon as you enter the field, that gets deleted. So it would say like name here or whatever, and then you put your name in, and as you write in, it gets deleted. Whereas value, you'd actually have to select the value and then remove it. It's like a pre-filled text field. So I don't want value. Placeholder, I'm going to make this subject. Oops. Subject, cool. And that is the input tag done. Now we've got label. So again, class, I'm going to leave that the same because it just sets the styles. The for attribute needs to match exactly the ID attribute from the input. So I'm just going to copy that and paste that into here. And then again, in the middle of the label, we want to label this subject. And that's it. Hit save, and all of our changes should be made. Come to the live site, reload, and there we go. Name, email, subject, phone number, and comment. Now the last thing we want to do is just test that this is actually sending through properly. There's two ways that you could do that. You can just look in the email address of whatever's hooked up to your Shopify store and see if that form has actually submitted and come through with all your data. But if you don't have access to that, then what you can do is right click, hit inspect, find the network tab here, and then let's just fill out the form. Fill that out, and we just want to make sure that the network little red icon is here, so it's recording network activity. Make sure that that's red. Then we hit send, and we're seeing a whole bunch of network activity here. We can see that the form is confirming that it has sent. I'm just going to check that that subject data has gone through. So we'll come into the filter here. We'll type method colon post uppercase. And we see this contact thing here. So we click that, and then under payload, we can see all of our name fields. Those are the mandatory ones that we had to have for that information to be submitted. We can see them all here. So we can see name, email, inquiry, phone number, and comment. So indeed, our inquiry is going through. So again, you would just want to test this in the email address, make sure it is actually coming through on the back end, but it looks to all be sending fine from the front end of the site here. So yeah, have a look in there, and if that all looks correct, then you're good to go. All you would want to do now is come back to the back end of Shopify, and if there weren't any issues, we would just publish this theme, and those changes would now be made to our live store. So that's all I've got for today, guys. If you like this video, smash that like button, leave a comment. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. But apart from that, stay tuned for the next episode. See ya.